Take baby steps. Just pick one habit that you would like to build and one habit that you would like to drop. Just spend some time finding out, where am I going, if this is where I want to go, if that is where I want to be. And then you will find that sometimes clinging on to things is not the solution. Even the most visibly sensible things that we think, oh, we need to cling on to these things, we need to even live longer, even that desire. There was a really old couple once, and they both died at the same time. They went to the pearly gates. They were greeted by St. Peter. He took them in both. He said, all your life you've done a lot of good stuff, so both of you deserve heaven. And he showed them around. There was this huge bungalow. He said, this is where you both will live. And the old man said, well, how much is it going to cost me? What's the rent? They said, oh, it's free. It's heaven. There is no charge. And then he took them further to this golf course. Here's a beautiful golf course. You can play till the cows come home. What's the tea charge, he said. He said, oh, nothing. I've told you, it's heaven. It's free. He said, wow, everything is free here? He said, yes, everything is free. Then he brought them to where they'll get their food and stuff. And there were on the table laid out most luxurious food items. It was bedecked with all sorts of wonderful stuff. And he said, well, this seems like 7-course meal must be very pricey. He said, you keep talking about money. I've told you everything is free in heaven. The man sat down there looking very stressed, his both hands on his head. And his wife said, honey, what's wrong? Are you okay? He said, if not for your bloody bran muffins, we would be here 10 years ago. We'll be having this food 10 years ago. But you want me to live longer on earth, in that pain, in that suffering. Even the most visible things we think we need to cling on to, that make every sense. If you just stop and analyze, your viewpoint may undergo a transformation. When your perspective changes, everything else changes. Your habits, yourself, your response, everything undergoes transformation. It all boils down to perspective. If you can see the world from the other person's perspective, there is actually not going to be any disagreement. Suddenly you won't feel the need to say, no, this is how things have to be done. You won't feel that the other person is wrong. You will start to see how there could be two rights, how there could be two truths. You begin to see the world in a different light. And all you have to do that is try to be the other person. For that, it requires certain inner strength. To let go of your stance requires somehow lowering your own ego. It is gratifying in the short term to hold on to your own ego and say, no, this is how things are. But it is far more gratifying, it is far more peaceful, it is far more satisfying to come to a common ground. Because when you make the other person happy, try it any day, you will feel happier too. So if you want to form any new habit in your own life, never make lifelong commitments, because mind does not accept it. Mind is like a small child, a toddler. You need to take one day at a time. You need to say, for the next 24 hours, let's say you smoke and you want to get off smoking. You say, only for the next 24 hours, I'm not going to smoke. I'm not promising about tomorrow and day after and day after. Only for the next 24 hours, I'm making this promise. I'm going to stick by this promise no matter what. When you do that, something strange happens. And that is, your consciousness, your mind, gains this strength. It starts to see that the person who's governing me is stronger than me. It starts to listen to you. That is the whole race. The mind does not listen to you. That is why we do things that we don't want to do. If only mind could listen to us, we'll say, you know what, calm down. If it calmed down, there'll be no fuss. So if you pick any habit and say, for the next 24 hours, I'm not going to do this. And then you can take a break the following day and repeat it, and repeat it, and repeat it. From 24 hours to 48 hours to 72 hours, and one day you'll be off it. And this is how to build a new habit as well. Start small. If you are thinking, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, you may not be able to do it. You just say, I'm going to go to the gym no matter what today. And then take the same resolution a day later, and a day later. You can do just about anything you can imagine if you progress this way. And that is the key to building any new habits, to transforming yourself to the person you always wanted to be. Do you know what makes you who you are? It's your habits, the thoughts, emotions. Those thoughts and emotions that are deeply ingrained turn into habits. They become reflex actions, they become automatic acts. One time, Buddha was walking with one of his disciples. A fly came and sat on his forehead. And to shoo away the fly, he just did like this and kept walking and kept talking to his disciple. A few minutes later, he stopped and he did this gesture again. And his disciple, Ananda, was rather surprised. He said, "O sage, there was no fly this time on your forehead. Why did you do that gesture? I'm intrigued." He said, "Earlier, it was a reflex action. I did it without mindfulness. It was just automatic. Fly came, I did like this. And then I realized I didn't do it consciously. Most of the actions that occur in human minds are reflex actions. They're hardwired in the brain based on the conditioning." One time, Buddha was walking through a village, and those people started shouting at him because he was an atheist. He said there is no God. His disciples became really furious that they're shouting at our master. But he remained quiet, composed, didn't say anything. After they were done for a couple of hours, he asked them, "Are you done? Because I have to go to the next village." And he proceeded to the next one. His disciples asked him, "Did it really not bother you? How come you were so calm and composed? They were shouting, they were calling you names, they were swearing at you. How come you showed no reaction?" And then he said, "If I offer you a gift, and you refuse to take it, to whom does it belong? He said, well, to you. He said, they were offering me their gifts of words I did not accept. So how could it bother me? If you don't accept, how can it bother you? If I offer you a weight of 10 pounds, if you take it, now you're carrying 10 pounds. But if you don't take it, you're not carrying any weight. But there is too much weight on the consciousness. Weight of repentance, weight of regret, weight of guilt. But all of that is rubbish. That is only there to weaken you. The truth is, you lived your life the way you thought it was right, given the circumstances. But when you are mindful, the reflex actions stop. You start to see, what can I accept and what do I have to reject? Once somebody wrote a letter to Gandhi, and he was sitting there. Another person was sitting across the table when the messenger delivered the letter. He read the letter. It was 2 pages long. It had a pin. He took out the pin, put it aside, crumpled the letter, and threw it in the bin. The man said to Gandhi, well, somebody must have written with so much care and love. How come you treated his letter like this? You just threw it in the trash can. Gandhi said, oh, there was nothing. It was all full of abusive language. The man was calling me names in the letter. Well, why did you keep the pin then? He said. He said, well, that was the only useful thing in the whole letter. I have kept what I will reuse. I've discarded what I don't intend to reuse. So if you keep what you are going to reuse, you will find yourself increasingly lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. That's why angels fly, because they're light. If you experience that lightness from within, you will feel like you're flying.